morning, people. This is Movie News with J-Ho at WMUA 91.1 at Amherst, and welcome to the best movie news show on campus. I'm your host, J-Ho, and welcome back. Oh boy, it's been one whole semester of movie news with great movies and terrible movies and some great exciting news and some insane news, and why don't we shut this off? All right then, so this is going to be the last show of the semester. I am so sad. I'm going to miss you guys. Well, you'll see me when I come back in springtime, in the spring semester, so don't worry, I'm not going to go anywhere. So oh, by the way, remind you, if you want to comment on one of my stories or ask a question or request a song, you can call in at 413-545-3691. Let me repeat, 413-545-3691. Just call during commercial break, because unfortunately I can't really talk to you while I'm on the air, because that's not really how it works. All right, so I have a special treat for you. There isn't that many big movie news this week, so I decided, and I was probably going to do this anyway, even if there was a lot of stories. I decided that I would do the top 10 movies of the year and the top 10 worst. I'll start by saying that, based on what I've heard, it's been a very hit and miss year, with a lot of disappointments. But from my standpoint, I only saw I saw mostly good movies. I saw some really interesting and different movies this year. And honestly, when I tried to put up my worst, I actually tried to watch a few movies so I could put on my worst. And honestly, I didn't really see any of the really, really bad ones. So my top 6 is more like the movies that I hated from this year. The rest are kind of like, they're either okay or mediocre, in my opinion. So, and by the way, it's just a very subjective list. And plus, I didn't see every single movie that came out this year. So if there's a movie that you think should have been on this list that probably should have, then you can call in and tell me. But it's just my opinion. So, and also before I might say this at the end of the show, and I'll say it now. Happy holidays, even though it's not really Christmas yet, but happy holidays, and I hope you guys have a good break when you guys go home. So why don't we first go into bests of 2016? So let me give you some honorable mentions. So, oh, and by the way, before I talk about this, I have not seen Rogue One. I actually plan to see it today, actually, at 7 o'clock. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to tell you what I think of it, but hopefully it's really, really good, because this Rogue One's my most anticipated movie of the year, since I am a Star Wars fan. And La La Land, my second most anticipated movie of the year. I don't know about the whole year, but like right now, it's my second most anticipated movie besides Rogue One. It looks great. It gets getting great reviews. I like Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, and the guy who directed Whiplash is directing this, so it's bound to be good. And Arrival. A lot of people are telling me Arrival's really great. I haven't had time to see it, so unfortunately I can only put it in the not seen category. So let's do the honorable mentions. So, Ouija Origin of Evil. This is a movie that I expected to be horrible, and it actually turned out to be pretty decent. Star Trek Beyond. This is a really, really fun sci-fi action movie. It's kind of a throwback to the Star Trek, the original Star Trek show, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I wish it did a little better at the box office, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. A really, really fun adventure back into the world of Harry Potter. It's a good introduction back into the Harry Potter, and a good introduction into the new universe that the Harry Potter universe is going to take place in for 5 movies. And surprising, and also I'll put as an honorable mention Trolls, a movie that when I first heard about it and saw the poster, I thought it looked stupid. And then I saw some of the trailers. I thought it looked okay. And it actually turned out to be a pretty decent, fun, entertaining family film. And also, we have The Accountant, a very intense, action-packed thriller with Ben Affleck as... I think I said in my review, it's like Rayman plus Jason Bourne. And, yeah. And so it's a very, very enjoyable, very bizarre as far as tonally action movie, but definitely worth watching. Finding Dory. Finding Dory. As a kid, I loved the original Finding Nemo. Finding Dory was not as good, but I don't think there was really no chance it could have ever been, in my opinion. And I think it's a very enjoyable, fun adventure with a character who has so much charm and likability. And plus, I related to it because sometimes I have short-term memory loss, and also it's just a lot of fun, and it's just great to go back to the Finding Nemo universe. And so and then also in my honorable mentions, Kung Fu Panda 3, pretty solid, fun, action-packed animated film that took 5 years to make. But anyway, better late than never, I guess. And so I think it was fun. It had great animation, great action. Kind of lacked in the character department. I thought it was a little rushed, and definitely not as good as the first two, but still enjoyable. Nevertheless. And also, I also wanted to mention this film as well. It wasn't a film that went to theaters. In fact, it was a documentary that went to TV. But since it's like a 7.5 hour documentary, and plus it was so good and it's very cinematic, in my opinion. And I'm pretty sure it played at Sundance, so I'm going to mention it. The O.J. Made in America. It's an incredibly fascinating documentary directed by Ezra Elliman that goes into depth about the rise and fall of O.J. Simpson and how O.J. is kind of the embodiment of America, from greed to race to celebrity to capitalism to greed and power. Like, this is a very, very powerful documentary that explains that really isn't about particularly the O.J. trial. It's about how OJ's rise kind of represents the American dream, and how his fall represents the faults of America. And so I think it's a very, very powerful documentary. If I were to, the reason I didn't put it on my list is because it is a TV documentary, and I only kind of review films that go to theaters. But I still think it's really, really good. So if I were to put it on my top 10, I'd put it at number 2, and yeah, I definitely put it at number 2. So why don't we actually move on to the actual list, shall we? So number 10 is probably one of the first films. I think the first film I saw from 2016, Deadpool. This movie is a perfect representation of the Deadpool character. It's violent, it's witty, it's quirky, it's action-packed. It has fourth wall jokes. Deadpool breaks the fourth wall. It's a movie that perfectly represents the Deadpool character. And considering what happened to him in X-Men Origins Wolverine, that disaster and abomination of a movie, I'm so happy that Tim Miller and Ryan Reynolds were able to get together to do the Deadpool character justice. Number 9, Moana. This is a really, really exciting, fun, heartwarming and Disney movie from the animated movie from the House of Mouse, and it has some of the best animation I've ever seen. It's very photorealistic. It feels like you could actually like touch the water and like be next to the sea creatures. It has really, really good songs from Lin-Manuel Miranda. Sorry. It has it has a great mythology, and it's it's a great film, and so comes in at number 9. Number 8 is The Beatles 8 Days a Week. This is a great documentary directed by Ron Howard about that follows the Beatles at the height of their power of Beatlemania. It perfectly shows how the Beatles were on a tight schedule and pressured every single minute, and how they were bombarded by fans. And it really goes into the minds of the Beatles, and you get their perspective. If you think being the Beatles is easy, think again and watch this. All right, number 7, The Nice Guys. This is a great buddy sleazy 70s throwback movie starring Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe. It's funny. It's erotic. It's insane. It's bizarre. It's gritty, and it's so much fun. And it was also directed by Shane Black, who directed Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and Iron Man 3. So I definitely check this one out if you have the time. Number 6, The Jungle Book. This was a remake of the animated film, which I thought was just kind of okay. I feel like this movie improves on many of the flaws of that film. In the original, I thought Mowgli was an underdeveloped character. In this one, I think he's much more relatable and much more developed. Bill Murray's awesome as Baloo. Idris Elba is great as Shere Khan, and I mean, obviously the best part of the movie is the CGI. I mean, the effects. I mean, the animals just look amazing. Like, it's so impressive how far we've come as far as CGI, to which we can actually make animals look realistic on screen. Just amazing. All right, next, number 5 is Zootopia, a great animated movie. This is actually my favorite Disney animated movie of the year. Not best animated movie. We'll get to that later, but it's a great animated movie that explores what will a town of animals be like, while also having some social commentary about race relations in America. I know some people have some quibbles about like the consistencies of that, but here's my response. I think yes, it does want to make parallels to race relations in America, but I think it's not going to be as consistent. It's not going to be consistent with our world because it's a world of animals. So I think the rules are going to be a little different. So that's my opinion, and I still stand by that. It's a very smart, very enjoyable, and Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde are great characters, and Jason Bateman and is great as Nick Wilde. So yeah, I really enjoyed Zootopia. And number 4 is actually my favorite animated movie of the year, Kubo and the Two Strings. Laika strikes again with another great movie. Laika's the studio that gave us Coraline and Paranorman. So they struck us with another masterful stop-motion animated picture that is action-packed and has a great mythology. It has a great lead and some great voice performances from Matthew McConaughey and Charlize Theron as a monkey. And yeah, it's just, if you haven't seen it, just go see it. I'm sure it's on Netflix somewhere, or somewhere on demand, but you just need to see it. And number 3 is Moonlight, a movie that a lot of people have compared to Boyhood, but from my standpoint is very different than Boyhood. Boyhood is more about the entire life of a character. I feel like this movie's about this movie does focus on the life of a character, but it's a little more in focused, if you know what I mean. I think this movie, more than Boyhood, is more about like self-discovery in a environment. And plus, Boyhood focuses on a middle-class guy. This focuses on someone in a very, very crappy ghetto, and it's about trying to discover who he is in this terrible environment, and who he is. I don't want to give it away, but I'm just gonna say just trying to discover himself as far as identity, and it's a film that perfectly gives us the perspective of this character. It's beautifully shot. It has beautiful cinematography. It's just a beautiful film. It's heartwarming. It's heartbreaking, and and if you haven't seen it, like a lot of these films, go check it out. I don't know if it's playing in Amherst Cinema still, but just go check it out. Moonlight. It's one of the best films of the year. At number 2, Captain America: Civil War. In my opinion, this is what Batman vs. Superman should have been. It shows the different ideologies between Captain America and Iron Man. Iron Man believes in regulating heroes, and in this movie you see why he thinks that, because they are hurting people, but you can also see why Captain America feels like if you regulate heroes, that would be a bad thing, because he comes from World War II, and he knows what it's like to regulate people. So, and also it has great action. We get to see all the characters that we love from the Marvel Universe come and fight with each other. We get to see Spider-Man for the first time in the MCU, and it's one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. And so, Captain America: Civil War comes in at number 2, but it couldn't come in as number 1, because the number 1 movie of the year, in my opinion, is Sing Street, a movie about a boy forming a band to impress a girl. This is my favorite movie of the year. Why? It affected me the most. I think this is a movie that everyone can relate to. It's a movie about discovering yourself and following your dreams, and it has amazing songs that will make you that are incredibly catchy. Like, this movie could have been great, and the songs could have been just okay, but the songs are really, really good. And our main character is very relatable. His older brother is who kind of looks like Seth Rogen, is a great mentor character who we learn more about. I also like how every single main character is developed in a way that we understand where they're coming from. And I think it's very, even though some people could say it's really, really sappy, I think it's very genuine, and I think it's a perfect movie that represents self-discovery. And also the best thing about this movie is we see the development of them becoming a band. Like, we see him practicing with his best friend. We see him start from like a very, very bad singer to becoming a really, really good singer. We see him write songs based off of his life experience. Like, he writes songs about the girl that he loves. He writes songs about how he's in a terrible boarding school. And so, yeah, Sing Street is not only one of my favorite movies of the year, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. So if you have not seen Sing Street, I beg you, go out and Sing Street. You'll love it. All right, then. Why don't we take a break, and when we come back, I'll talk about the worst movies of the year. Yeah, that should be fun. And then after that, since it's holiday time, I'm gonna review a movie that is kind of relevant to that. I'll let you know what it is later. But for now, since it's holiday themed, here is your mean one, Mr. Grinch, from the movie Dr. Seuss' How the Grinch Stole Christmas, sang by Jim Carrey.
With his coat and his hat, I'll look just like Saint Nick.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel.
You're as cuddly as a cactus and as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch.
You're a bad banana with a greasy black peel.
Just face the music, you're a monster, Mr. Grinch. Yes, you are.
Your heart's an empty hole.
got Gallagher so Mr. Grinch. Well, I wouldn't touch you with a 39 and a half foot pole. You know, if you ask who's
No one's
You're a vile one.
Mr. Grinch, you have termites in your smile
You have all the tender sweetness.
of a seasick crocodile, Mr. Grinch. Given the choice between you, I'd take the seasick crocodile.
All right, you chipmunks. Ready to sing your song?
I'll say we are. Yeah, let's sing it now.
Okay, Simon?
Okay.
Okay, Theodore?
Okay.
Okay, Alvin? Alvin? Alvin!
Okay. Christmas, Christmas time is near. Time for toys and time for cheer. We've been good, but we can't last. Hurry, Christmas, hurry fast. One's a plane that moves the loop. Me, I want a hula hoop. We can hardly stand the wait. Please, Christmas, don't be late.
Okay, fellas, get ready. That was very good, Simon.
Naturally.
Very good, Theodore. Alvin, you were a little flat. Watch it, Alvin. Alvin. Alvin!
One's a plane that loops the loop. I still want a hula hoop. We can hardly stand the wait. Please, Christmas, don't be late. We can hardly stand the wait. Please, Christmas, don't be late.
Very good, boys.
Let's sing it again. Yeah, let's sing
No,
it
that's
again.
enough. Let's not overdo
What
it.
do you mean overdo it? We want to sing
Now,
it
wait a
again.
minute, boys.
Yeah, Freddie, why can't we sing it
Alvin,
again?
cut that. Alvin, wait.
All right, that was the Chipmunk song "Christmas Don't Be Late" from Alvin and the Chipmunks by Alvin and the Chipmunks. All right, then, why don't we get into the more entertaining list, I would say. So, I'll make it clear. I did not actually see more than 6 really, really bad movies that I hated. So, the top, so 10 through 7, I would say I wouldn't say they're like bad. They're more either okay or mediocre. So, keep that with a grain of salt. In fact, I'll tell you right now, I actually kind of like 10 through 9 to a degree. There are a lot of things I like about 10 through 9, but since I really didn't see more than 10 bad movies, I can only put I have to kind of put them on the list just so I can make a top 10 list, because top 6 list doesn't sound that cool. So, and also, I don't have any dishonorable mentions because, like I said before, I didn't really see more than 10 bad movies. So why don't we get into it? So number 10, I have Office Christmas Party. I actually like this movie. I thought it was fun. I thought it's one of the most insane movies I've ever seen. I think I said in my Daily Collegian review that it makes college parties look like Chuck E. Cheese, and I think the best way I described it was it's like Project X plus Office Space plus Bad Santa. So that kind of gives you an idea what you're gonna get into. If this, like, you look at the title, Office Christmas Party. Like, you read that, you should already know what to expect. And I don't want to get too much into it because I'm not. I'll just say right now, I'm gonna actually review it on this podcast, on this show. But I will say that it could have been a lot funnier if it didn't have kind of a mediocre plot, and it didn't kind of resort to kind of cheap, gross out gags. So that's why I have it at number 10. Number 9, probably one of the more controversial films of the year, Batman vs. Superman. I actually kind of liked this film. I thought it had good action. I liked Ben Affleck as Batman. I thought it looked really nice. I thought the plot was kind of a mess. It tried to be a Batman vs. Superman film. It tried to be a Lex Luthor film. It tried to be a Man of Steel sequel. It tried to be a Batman solo film. It tried to be a Lois Lane film, and the story was just a mess. But I thought there was enough action in it and enough, and I did like some of the actors. I thought Lex Luthor was kind of annoying, but I did like Ben Affleck as Batman. Gal Gadot was pretty solid for the few minutes she showed up on screen. Henry Cavill was just kind of okay. So I thought the movie was okay. I know a lot of people hated it, and I could totally understand why. I know some people actually loved it. I can totally understand why. Yeah. So and by the way, I can only answer on when it's commercial breaks. So sorry. And so yeah, that's why I have Batman vs. Superman at number 9. Number 8, I have The Lobster. And this is probably the most controversial pick. And I don't hate this movie. I think it's just okay. I know it has like a 90-something on Rotten Tomatoes, and I know a lot of people love this. I think this is going to actually show up in some people's best lists. I thought it was mediocre. I don't know. Like, I get what the filmmaker was trying to do. Like, he's trying to create a world in which people have lost their humanity, and people are not human. And people are, like, inhumane. But I feel like when you do that, it makes it harder for us to really care about the characters. So that's why I put it. That's why I had a hard time enjoying it. And I don't know, like with movies like 2001, the characters are like inhumane and don't really have emotion. But with that movie, I feel like that movie's more about like the bigger picture. It's about like humanity in general, like, and like it's visually pleasing. So, and it's a visual storytelling. So I feel like the story is on a bigger scale more than like the characters that you actually don't. That didn't really bother me that much. With this, it focuses on the characters, and it wants you to care about them. And it's hard to care about them when they're like really, really dry and dull. The acting, it's kind of hard to judge the acting because everybody acts the same. I mean, like, Colin Farrell's pretty good, as usual. I actually didn't mind the first half. The first half had a very bizarre tone, but I could kind of get behind it. It was the second half in which we actually got into the characters that it started to kind of bother me. But that's what I think. I know a lot of people really like that film, but it just didn't really work for me. But I didn't hate it. But I just didn't really like it. It's kind of like a C film for me. And then the next one isn't really I don't usually review straight to DVD movies, especially DC straight to DVD movies, but this one went to theaters for a day, so I'm gonna let it count. So Batman: The Killing Joke. Why? If you guys have, screw it. I'm gonna give some spoilers. If you don't want to listen, hold your ears for maybe 3 minutes. I was excited to hear when they were gonna make an animated film of Batman: The Killing Joke, because Batman: The Killing Joke is considered one of the greatest comic books ever made, written by the great Alan Moore of Watchmen and V for Vendetta. And also, Mark Hamill was returning to be the Joker, and he said that he wouldn't return unless they were doing The Killing Joke. So I was happy when I heard that they were gonna do this. What I got was something that was a very, very mixed bag. Everything involving The Killing Joke is fine, even though it doesn't really add much that you probably couldn't get from actually reading the comic. But the biggest problem definitely has to do with the first half, in which we get a side plot about this criminal who has a crush on Batgirl, and it feels really unnecessary. It doesn't even feel like part of the Killing Joke story. I don't even know what the point of that part is. And then we get the infamous scene. We get Batman and Batgirl having sex on a roof. And not only is this incredibly creepy and weird, but it makes I'm very confused on what the point of this was. My guess on why they had that first half, in which we have this subplot about Batgirl and Batman and this gangster guy, is to make Batgirl a little more likable and for us to care a little bit about her more, because I think one of the complaints about Batman: The Killing Joke was that Batgirl was just kind of a victim, and people called Batman: The Killing Joke sexist because she was just in the movie. She really, all her point was to just be a victim of the Joker, and she was just a plot element. But in my opinion, they've made the issue worse by one thing. They re-emphasize that she's a female hero, and plus they make it worse because now you show her having sex with Batman on the roof. It just kind of makes her seem even, and plus she quits at the end, which and honestly her reason isn't really her reasoning isn't that convincing to me. And plus this makes it worse because what's more sexist than a girl who just wants to be with the guy, especially the top guy? That just doesn't make any. That just made things worse. In my opinion, the reason why I didn't give this a negative review is because I did like Mark Hamill, I like Kevin Conroy, I like Tara Strong. I did like the animation for the most part, even though at some points it looked very flat. And I did like the Killing Joke part. So so that's why I didn't give it a completely terrible review. But it was very, very underwhelming. But all right, then, you know what? Why don't we quickly take a break? And here is Up from the movie Sing Street.
I'll try and make it.
It's 2 o'clock on the edge of the morning. She's running magical circles around my head. I hitch a ride on a dream she's driving. She turns to kiss me, I crash back into bed. Across the street on a grayed out Monday, I see the girl with the eyes I can't describe. And suddenly it's a perfect Sunday, and everything is more real than life. I'm back in the dream. I think I'm back on the ceiling. It's such a beautiful feeling. Going up. She lights me up. She breaks me up. She lets me up. You find a mystery bound in perfection. You've got to read, but you don't want to reach the end. 'Cause what if everything beautiful's fiction, and this reality's just pretend? And then I'm back in the dream. I'm looking up at the ceiling. It's such a beautiful feeling. Going up. She lights me up. She breaks me up. She lets me up to the stars. She shows me Main Street, Georgia Street, miles below me. Up where the world won't let us down. Going up. She lights me up. She breaks me up. She lets me up.
It may not mean nothing to y'all, but understand nothing was done for me. So I don't plan on stopping at all. I want this forever mine, ever mine, ever mine. I'm shutting down in the mall and telling that girl she the one for me. And I ain't even planning the call. I want this forever mine, ever mine, ever mine, ever mine.
Last name ever, first name greatest. Like a sprained ankle, boy, ain't nothing to play with. Started off local, but thanks to all the haters, I know G4 pilots on a first name basis. In your city, faded off the brown. Nino, she insists she got more class. We know, swimming in the money, come and find me. Nemo, if I was at the club, you know I balled. Chemo, dropped a mixtape that sounded like an album. Who'd have thought a countrywide tour be the outcome? Labels want my name beside an X like Malcolm. Everybody got a deal, I did it without one. Yeah, I'm about my business. Killing all these rappers, you would swear I had a hit list. Everyone who doubted me is asking for forgiveness. If you ain't been a part of it, at least you got to witness.
It may not mean nothing to y'all, but understand nothing was done for me. So I don't plan on stopping at all. I want this forever mine, ever mine, ever mine. I'm shutting down in the mall and telling that girl she the one for me. And I ain't even planning the call. I want this forever mine, ever mine.
Ever Mr. West is in the building. Ain't no question who about to kill him. I used to have hood dreams, big fame, big chains. I stuck my dick inside his life until that came and went hard all fall like the ball teams, just so I could make it rain all spring. Y'all seen my story, my glory. I had raped the game young. You could call it statutory when a nigga blow up. They gon' build statues for me. Old money, Benjamin Button, what nothing. Super bad chicks giving me McLovin'. You would think I ran the world like Michelle's husband. You would think these niggas know me when they really doesn't. Like they was down with the old me. No, you fucking wasn't. You such a fucking loser. He ain't even go to class. Bueller. Trade the Grammy plaques just to have my granny back. Remember she had that bad hip like a fanny pack. Chasing the stardom will turn you to a maniac. All the way in Hollywood and I
can't even act. They pull their cameras out and God me snap. I used to want this thing forever, y'all can have it back.
It may not mean nothing to y'all, but understand nothing was done for me. So I don't plan on stopping at all. I want this forever, mine, ever mine, ever mine. Shutting down in the mall and telling that girl she the one for me. And I ain't even planning the call. I want this forever, mine, ever mine, ever mine.
Okay, hello, it's the Martian, Space Jam Gardens. I want this forever, wake up and smell the garden, fresher than the harvest, step up to the target. If I had one guess, then I guess I'm just New Orleans. And I would never stop, like I'm running from the cops. Hopped up in my car and told my chauffeur to the top. Life is such a fucking roller coaster, then it drops. But what should I scream for? This is my theme park. My mind shine even when my thoughts seem dark. On my side, you don't wanna hear that thing talk. Let the king talk, check the price and pay attention. Lil Wayne, that's what they gotta say or mention. I'm like Nevada in the middle of the summer. I'm resting in the lead, I need a pillow and a cover. My foot sleeping on the gas. No break pass, no such thing as last.
It may not mean nothing to y'all, understand nothing was done for me. So I don't plan on stopping at all. I want this forever, mine, ever mine, ever mine. Shutting down in the mall and telling that girl she the one for me. And I ain't even planning the call. I want this forever, mine, ever mine, ever mine, ever mine.
Back in stadiums, it's shady, spits his flow. Nuts they go, macadamian, they go so ballistic, whoa. He can make them look like bozos, he's wondering if he should spit this slow. Oh no, go for broke, his cup just runneth over, oh no. He ain't had him a bust like this since the last time that he overdosed. They've been waiting patiently for Pinocchio to poke his nose back into the game, and they know rap will never be the same as before. Bashing in the brains of these lost and establishing a name as he goes. The passion and the flame is ignited, you can't put it out once we light it. This is exactly what the that I'm talking about when we riot. You dealing with a few true villains who stand inside of the booth, true spilling and spit true feelings until our true feelings come flying up out of our mouths, never mind it. Payback for the way that you got at me, how's it taste? When I slap the taste out of your mouth with the bass so loud that it shakes the place. I'm Hannibal Lecter, so just in case you're thinking of saving face, you ain't gonna have no face to say by the time I'm through with this place so Drake, place so Drake.
It may not mean nothing to y'all, understand nothing was done for me. So I don't plan on stopping at all. I want this forever, mine, ever mine, ever mine. Shutting down in the mall and telling that girl she the one for me. And I ain't even planning the call. I want this forever, mine, ever mine, ever mine, ever mine, ever mine, ever mine, ever mine.
All right, then. That was Forever by Drake, Kanye West, Lil Wayne, and Eminem. So, that was from the soundtrack of More Than a Game. So yeah. All right, then. Why don't we go? What? No. Whoops. Sorry about that. Why don't we actually go back to the top 10 worst movies of the year so far? And I've got to say, the movies I'm going to talk about now are genuinely the movies that I despised from this year. All right, then. Why don't we I'm going to quickly go through these because I don't really want to talk about these movies anymore. All right, then. Number 6, Independence Day Resurgence. This is an unnecessary sequel to a movie that came out like 20 years ago. It has decent visuals and some fun action scenes, but it has two leads that are as wooden as Pinocchio. It has a very moody and dark and depressing aesthetic to it, and it has a plot that really makes no sense, and it has actors that look like they're half asleep, and it's boring. Say what you want about the first Independence. I know it's like really, really cheesy, but it wasn't boring. This one's boring. and also, not to mention, the pacing was really, really rushed at the beginning. So that really that really hurt when it meant for me to care about the characters. So that's why I say number 6. Number 5 is Masterminds, a story about a real life bank robbery involving Zach Galifianakis as a moron, doing a bank robbery with other morons, and with another moron robbing a bank, and then getting caught because everybody in this movie's a moron. The only thing I could say about this movie is I went to see this the first screening, and there were only like 3 people, and one of them walked out. Moving on. Number 4, Gods of Egypt. This is a movie that was kind of as bad as I thought it was going to be. It has terrible effects, an incredibly stupid story, characters that I don't care about. I've seen crash dummies that have more charisma than any of the actors in this movie. The only reason it's only a number 4 is because it was unintentionally hilarious at times. Number 3, 9 Lives. Now, number 2 and number 3 are movies that I kind of questioned how they ended up in theaters. Have you ever wanted to see The Shaggy Dog, except with a cat and with Kevin Spacey? Well, this is what you get, and with the aesthetic of a straight-to-TV Nickelodeon movie. This is one incredibly insulting to your intelligence. If you want your sanity, do not watch 9 Lives. It will ruin your brain, and you will lose your sanity. And plus, it has the cliche Disney Channel plot of dad who's not there, but the dad who's not there who has to go to work, and then some conundrum happens, and then at the end he gets along better with his family. I want to puke. All right then. Why don't we? And number 2, Norm of the North. For a while, I thought this was going to be the number 1 worst movie of the year. It has animation that makes Jimmy Neutron look like Inside Out. It has the lead voice actor is Rob Schneider, and it has a story that is so preachy and stupid that and it tries to have this environmental message about saving the Arctic, even though it doesn't really make sense why people would have houses in the Arctic in the first place. And it's so insulting to your intelligence that it made me want to kill everybody that is involved with this film. And I know what people are going to say. It's a kids movie. First of all, shut up. And two, there are great animated movies. So, like, from Pixar and DreamWorks. So there's no excuse to make this piece of garbage. And did I mention the lead actor is voiced by Rob Schneider? All right. Now to the worst movie of the year. Like I said before, I thought that Norm of the North was going to be the worst movie of the year. Then I went through a few movies before I came on here. And then I found something worse. Than Norm of the North. And that would be 50 Shades of Black. A parody, a spoof of 50 Shades of Grey brought by Marlon Wayans. I'll just say this. There are 3 jokes in 50 Shades of Black. Two are like incredibly stupid, and one maybe you could have done something with. One is that he's called Christian Black because, you know, he's black. This is brought to us by the genius Marlon Wayans. And so that's funny. So one of the ideas is that Christian Grey is actually not as cool and smooth as he appears to be. And then the other is that, and then the other ideas are, what if we made 50 Shades of Grey except everyone was black? And the other types of jokes that this movie likes to throw at us are, hey, you know 50 Shades of Grey was about sex? So let's emphasize the sex. Because, 50 Shades of Grey is about sex. Uh-huh. Yeah. And this is kind of in the vein of the Freeburg and Seltzer movies. Because this movie likes to throw out references because it can. Huh? And so we have a scene in which they talk about like how Christian Black is how Christian Black is upset that the girl character, who cares what her name is, didn't tell him about his mom. And so he's like, and then while he's talking about that, he says, why is Kevin Hart in a bunch of movies? Why is Kevin Hart in a bunch of movies? Because it's called 50 Shades of Black, and he's black. Because that's funny, right? Ugh! This movie's horrible. Ugh! Oh, look, we're taking a commercial break. Ugh! Gosh, this movie sucks. Here's Jai-Ho from the movie Slumdog Millionaire. Let's just. Ugh!
I'll make you hot, get all you got, I'll make you wanna say Jai-Ho! Jai-Ho! I got fever, running like a fire. For you I will go all the way, I'm gonna take you higher. Jai-Ho! I keep it steady is how I feel it. Jai-Ho! This beat is heavy, so heavy, you gon' feel it. Jai-Ho!
Then that was Jai-Ho by the Pussycat Dolls and A.R. Rahman, and that's from the movie Slumdog Millionaire, like I said before. All right, then. Why don't let's do a little challenge, shall we? Let's see if I can review a movie in 3 minutes, shall we? Okay. So let me read the. So this is Office Christmas Party. So let me read the premise. So Carol Van Stone, played by Jennifer Aniston, the CEO of a company called Zynotech, is threatening to fire 40% of the staff of the Chicago branch as they have not made enough money. Josh Parker, played by Jason Bateman, and her brother Clay, played by T.J. Miller, the technical chief officer and the manager of the Chicago branch, then convince her that if they can partner with Walter Davis, played by Courtney B. Vance, then they would not let anyone go. However, Walter rejects their offer, and he feels that Zynotech is not a great place to work. The two then decide, with the help of Tracy, played by Olivia Munn, who is the head of technology, that they would invite Walter to their annual Christmas party to show him that Zynotech is a great place. So now it is up to the Chicago branch to throw the most awesome Christmas party ever. What they do not expect is that the party goes into chaos. So, in my opinion, the best element are the performances. I really like Jason Bateman. I really like T.J. Miller, who plays a manager who likes to party, but also cares about his workers. And Jennifer Aniston is pretty good at playing an evil boss. And I also like Olivia Munn, Courtney B. Vance, Kate McKinnon, Rob Corddry, and Divine Joy Randolph. And I also was kind of amused how insane this movie was. Like, it has the iron chair from Game of Thrones. We have Walter even swings from The Office with Christmas, around the office with Christmas lights, and there's even a surprise cameo with someone relating to Chicago. However, the biggest problem with the movie, I think, is the story. It sets up the movie. The setup for the movie is fine, but I think there are some subplots that I felt were either lame, underdeveloped, or unnecessary. There's a subplot in the third act about a pimp named Trina and a prostitute that feels really unnecessary. I feel like the romance between Olivia Munn and Jason Bateman's a little underdeveloped. I feel like the other characters were kind of lame, and some of the jokes were easy gross-out humor. Overall, I think Office Christmas Party is a pretty fine film. It's going to be a Christmas classic. It's not going to be remembered in like 10 years from now. It's a pretty disposable film that if you want to watch a film while drunk on the holidays, I guess this is a pretty good film for that. But other than that, it's fine. And like I said, I described it as like the party scenes are. It's kind of like if Chuck E. Cheese if Chuck E. Cheese. Like I think I said, it makes college parties look like Chuck E. Cheese, and it's like Office Space combined with Project X and Bad Santa combined. So if I were to give this movie a grade, I'd give it a C+. Solid, but not really worth going out to seeing. All right then. Well, this is the last show of the semester. So thank you for listening to Movie News with J-Ho at WMUA.